Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, and coming at you live from facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. I'm your host, Michael Dolce. As always, joined with the unconditional expert in everything and the all-knowing Hassan Godwin, also known
I can't stand you
as the Lord of the Experts.
Lord of the... All right. All right.
If you caught us on our Green Room feed, which patrons only can get to, you would know there was a context for that inside joke. Hassan, how you feeling tonight?
I was great up until that introduction. Thank you.
We are...
This is episode 90.
This is episode 90.
Wow.
I know. And you joined when? Episode 50?
I don't know. I
think
joined,
were you Paul Jenkins?
I think I joined episode 85.
No, that's not true.
85. Okay.
That's not true.
Episode 80.
You are not an expert on chronology.
Chronology? On temporal mechanics? No.
Yeah, no.
It was in January. That's all I can remember.
Yeah, I know. So,
Yeah.
52 weeks in a year. January would have been, I think you were about episode 48, 49.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
48.
Maybe.
Something like that. So
we'll have one of our fans go back in time and tell us.
What's amazing that you said that. We are coming off New York ComicCon, which, by the way, I got to tell you right now.
Of New York ComicCon.
I got to tell you, there was a day back when I was like 27 years old, right? Mm-hmm. I did my usual bender for the weekend, go out Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Yeah. And Sunday rolls around. And it wasn't even Sunday. I think it was like Saturday.
Right.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, boy, I really didn't hit it that hard. I didn't really go out very hard.
You didn't hit it that hard?
Yeah, the night.
Oh, okay.
The night.
Right. I got you.
Yeah, I don't know what you were talking.
I don't know what you
got to be very sensitive here. Do not do a line of cocaine on the air. And send it to a woman.
No,
don't do that.
Just don't do it.
Just don't press send.
In fact, that third segment that you were planning to do a line of coke in front of everybody, I would advise against it.
Well, now you just gave it away, so I can't do it.
That's why. That's why I gave it away, so you wouldn't do it.
So I was 27, and I thought to myself, like,
I will send that video to the police.
I'm like, boy, I've done my usual thing here, and I'm not really that. Like, why am I feeling so hungover? And it took me a couple days to recover. And then as I got a little bit older, it just kept taking longer and longer and longer to recover. And now it's just extended to just Comic-Cons, like, period. Like, I went out
sitting through most of that.
I know. I went out to dinner. I was in bed by I'm kind of ashamed to admit it. 9:30 was the average time I was in bed.
9:30.
And it still took me till today.
That's like girly hours.
I don't. Yeah, don't. Look,
terrible.
I am with you. I am with you.
That is not good. That beats my average. Actually.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not good. And
I was standing, and I was only there Friday.
Yes,
and I was standing around every night, and then
so it is essentially
friend of the show, Gabe came by.
Oh yeah, who will be on our show in December?
And I went chasing him around to find him.
Yeah.
And then I found him. And then so now he wanted to see things because he had just got there.
Sure.
So I was like, I just found Gabe. I'm going to stick with Gabe. And I'm telling you, 10 years ago, that would have been nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Friday?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you gonna stop anywhere? Maybe we should sit here.
Yeah.
We should sit here. Maybe we should eat. You hungry, Gabe?
Yeah.
You want to go eat? No? And he was, and it was terrible. And then I got to where I was going. I went away for the weekend. I got to where I was going, and I was a mess. I was a wreck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't even do anything.
I know.
Really.
I know. It's a sad state of affairs, but we will adapt.
That's because we're old.
We will persevere, and we will give you our New York Comic-Con breakdown. Now, a couple of things before we start. We got a lot of show to talk about, too.
There's a lot of stuff.
We got Blade Runner just came out.
Yes.
Which apparently no one cares because it didn't. It won the box office, but it was like one of those weekends where no one went to go see movies, and so it won the box office kind of thing. Yeah. But it also dealt with an elephant.
Care, though.
What's that?
People will care.
I don't think they will.
People will care.
I don't think they will at all.
No. You have to understand. People didn't care about the original Blade Runner. And yet, 30 years later, there's a sequel.
Yeah.
So people are going to care about it.
So is Ryan Gosling going to be in the 30 years later Blade Runner 3?
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2079?
Yes.
And it'll somehow have to bridge the gap of people who saw Ryan Gosling in this Blade Runner with the people who...
It doesn't really have to.
With the actor...
It doesn't have
you know, that guy from the Huggies commercial.
It won't happen. That guy from the...
Who will eventually become the Ryan Gosling in 30 years. See what I did there? Yeah. I'm so smart.
Yeah, really. Not
but yeah, we're going to start with the biggest stories from New York Comic Con. We're going to start with Steve, first of all. Steve is our favorite person now.
Yes. Well,
Steve came up to us. Sam
He's not really my favorite person.
Our producer extraordinaire. Had asked us tonight. He's like, did anyone from the show who watches the show or listens to the show actually come up to you at New York Comic Con? We had a booth all weekend long. We were selling the awesome comic that Hassan did the cover for. I turned it into a print, which I totally forgot to bring it tonight, even though you forgot to take it with you, so I don't feel that bad.
I didn't forget. I told you I couldn't because I would destroy it.
Whatever. Point is, you don't have it. And I forgot to bring it. I'll bring it next week. But anyway.
That's more the point.
I will show this off next week. It's pretty amazing. And we had this guy come up, and he was looking at our comics, and he's like, hey, and my intro is always, have you heard of The Sire before? Because it's been around for 10 years, so people have some people have heard of it, and they kind of like lost touch with it, and they go to the conventions, and they kind of find it again.
The show for 10 years.
No, not the show, but the comic. And this guy's like, yeah, I've heard of The Sire. I listen to you guys every week, and I remember like, wow, look at you go, Steve. His name is Steve. First of all,
actually, my reaction was, no, you don't.
I know, right? I know.
Get out of here. Stop trolling us.
You were very doubtful on all that. I do agree with that.
I was cordial to him, but I was like, come on. And then you asked him a bunch of questions.
Well, that was because at
qualifiers.
This point,
you asked him for qualifiers.
No, it wasn't qualifiers. I saw this as... No.
That would have been...
His handle was not fecally owned.
But
wouldn't it be amazing if it was?
It would have been fantastic.
So we converted a troll into...
That doesn't trump Steve. That doesn't make it better than Steve. Steve
saw Steve
awesome.
As an opportunity for market research. Because I started asking him questions. I was like, we don't actually do market research because we're very ill prepared for the show. Like in general, we're just very ill prepared for this. We're experts.
To which I said, he's ill prepared.
Right. But
I'm just color commentary.
So he downloads us. So he's not listening to us right now. He downloads us. He found us on a podcasting app, which means all you folks out there have no excuse. I don't know. Just felt like there was something to say.
They don't bother to make excuses. They're like, we just don't listen to you. It's not an excuse.
I asked him, I said, what is it that you like about the show? And he said two things that I thought were very important. Right? First, he said, when y'all disagree, that's when the show is the best. Which I've been telling Hassan. I said, when we fight like a married couple, that's when the show is the best. So we will indeed be breaking down the Star Wars trailer later.
I vehemently disagree with you.
We will indeed bring it to wherever it needs to go.
No. All right. Okay. Fine.
And whatever comes of it, comes of it.
There's no way to win, because even if I deny that and say I'm not going to do that, I'm still disagreeing with you.
This is very true.
Yeah.
And that's when the show works.
Yes. So the show's working right now.
And then Steve said...
What did Steve say?
Everyone piles, pointing to me, everyone piles on you. Everyone, yeah. I always feel like you... I'm ad-libbing.
Sam doesn't quite agree with that.
I actually don't agree with it either, but... but I said, this is Hassan. I clearly delineated who we were.
Yeah.
And he's like,
that's what you look like.
He's like, y'all really do pile on.
But he said, like, oh, there's the face. I get to put a face with the name.
Yes.
So I was like, oh.
Even the people that don't watch us on camera know that you are not on camera.
No, I am not on camera.
That will change soon, though.
Well, but also your face is all over the advertising paraphernalia.
This is true, actually. So he knows when people pile on me.
Your smiling face.
Yes. So people know. Yeah. So this is my call to all our Facebook people. Do you agree with Steve that pretty much Sam and Hassan pile on me? Mm-hmm. Or do you disagree? I agree 100%. I think you're all against me.
Of course.
I think you're all against me.
It's not.
I am the voice of reason.
You're not.
I am the voice of Steve the fan.
Yeah.
And yet you pile on me.
Steve the fan is awesome. He should have his own voice. You should be his voice for him.
Yeah. So that was our first takeaway from New York Comic Con.
That was wonderful.
Our second takeaway from New York Comic Con was Buddy Scalera, Comic Book School.
Buddy Scalera, yeah.
We streamed live from the Comic Book School panel,
which was like this week.
It will be. You actually get 2 episodes at one. Now, technically, it's not an episode. We're going to call it a special.
Right.
But we got Joe Rybant and Warren Simons and Darren Sanchez. Darren Sanchez is an editor at Marvel.
Yes.
Warren Simon is the editor-in-chief at Valiant.
Right.
And Joseph Rybant is an editor at Dynamite.
Yep.
And they
So if you want to know the inside track on all these particular entities
and how to break in, because that's really what they focus on.
They do talk extensively about that, and about like a lot of kind of sober, down to earth kind of conversation about with the realities of the industry and how it is to break in.
And
cool.
Absolutely go into depth. So we're not we frame our show as a comic book movie podcast, even though obviously we talk about everything, and we both have comic book experience. We're both writers. We're both illustrators in the industry.
Right.
This is a great like how to break in, even if you don't want to break in, even if you're just curious in general on good networking.
Everybody's got a cousin somewhere who wants to break in.
Like good networking. like so again, look for the New York ComicCon special. We got Joe Rybant from Dynamite. We got Warren Simons from Valiant. Darren Sanchez in the custom comics department, which we're going to talk about in a second.
We go way back.
And he was friend of the show.
Guest on the show,
Let me tell you right now, 2 out of the 3 have been on the show, and Joe Rybant's like, I'm down, let's do this.
Oh, there you go.
So we're going to bring him on as well,
he's
too.
Not going to be an outlier for long.
No, not. So big thanks to Buddy Scalera. Go to comicbookschool.com. Go sign up for his newsletter. He does a great panel. Buddy and I are talking about doing a panel at the New Jersey Comic Expo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? The two of you talking?
I'm sure you can get into that show.
Nice.
I'm sure you can get into that show.
That's cozy. The two of you having conversations about what to do.
I'm going to be announcing a new co-host very soon, replacing my expert in the field.
Yes, you are. That door swings both ways, my friend.
So that was our own personal experience. A big thing that I found, which we'll wait for our guest, Tom Hutchison, from Big Dog Inc. to kind of talk about, is the lack of...
talk about it with me?
You'll be in there too. The lack of comic book sales at the actual Comic-Cons, and I saw Joe Mulvey actually just joined our Facebook feed, so I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear what he says about that.
Without really getting deeply into this, because I know you just said you're planning the conversation later. I have heard for years, for over a decade, for however. NYCC is about a decade old. It's a little over a decade old, right? Mm-hmm. I have heard for years it's not a great selling show.
No. Okay, no, I vehemently disagree.
Well,
I make more money at that show.
You do, but a lot of a lot of people complain to Reed.
I don't make money selling comics.
Reed has.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're parsing. I'm saying it's not a big selling show for comic books, which I would have said.
You needed to specify.
I was going to.
Some expert.
You enjoy doing the rest of the show.
Don't pile on me.
So bad.
I love Steve. Steve is our new friend.
Steve's your new friend.
I know.
Because he takes your side.
I know.
Hey,
anyone who takes my side is my friend.
Everybody takes your side.
No, so
everybody.
You've heard complaints though to read.
Yeah, I've heard a bunch of complaints in general. I've read articles that a lot of people don't unload a lot of merchandise there. A lot of comic book related merchandise. There's when I worked a couple of booths for friends over the years, and the prevailing question everybody asked when they came by the booth is, "What's for free?"
Sure.
What's for free? What do you got for free?
Sure. Isn't that every like big show?
But
though?
it's more prominent.
Isn't that the millennial generation though, expecting things for free?
Like parents walking their kids through there.
Sure.
So the parents let the kids take all these little tchotchkes off and then so the parents feel like big shots because the kids got a swelled bag when they leave. But the parents didn't end up spending a lot of money. Although that's mostly because they had to mortgage their house to get inside in the first place. Yeah. Because those tickets are not cheap.
No.
It's not a cheap show.
No.
But there's not a lot of spending going on there. There's a lot of spectacles, a lot of video games, a lot of great stuff. There's cars on the floor and spaceships and stuff like that. Wonderful.
When it comes to comic book merchandise, the majority of people that walk that floor
but a lot of
don't read comics.
A lot of small press people complain that they're not unloading their wares. I've had friends who've had small press booths and they've the cost is negligible.
Sure.
Either they get a comp to table or they were able to at least make a third to all of their money back. But they don't have great weekends.
Sure. Well, we'll continue that conversation because it's all about pivoting, and we're going to talk about that with Tom Hutchison. But coming up next, ironically, the biggest drop of the weekend didn't happen over the weekend. It actually happened during Monday Night Football. Star Wars, when we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo! What's that?
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
I love the emotional affairs.
That's awesome.
I'm having an emotional affair with you.
I have
every
emotional
week.
affairs all the time.
I know.
Yeah. I didn't think that was an actual insult to other people, but
well, you're not cheating on somebody.
Well, if you can do that emotionally, I'm cheating on you right now. This is because I'm thinking about someone else.
You're thinking about Peter. Hi, Peter.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Talkradio.nyc. Give us a call, 877-480-4120, unless you're listening to us on iHeartRadio or iTunes or Spreaker or Stitcher or Google Play or SoundCloud, which we have a tremendous audience that downloads this, and we love you guys. We love everybody who listens. We love everybody that joins in the conversation. If you want to join the conversation, then you can call us up, or, again, check us out at Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. Joel Mulvey, top money-making show for myself and for Comics Tribe, he said. And I don't disagree with that. So we were talking about New York ComicCon, whether or not it's a comic book show anymore, which is kind of a stale topic. I'm not trying to get into that necessarily. But Hassan, you were saying there are some complaints from retailers.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with you, because there was a guy across from us, and I was just saying this in the break. You know, he's selling his independent comic book. Those booths are about $1,100-1,200 in small press. There ain't no way he made $1,200 back. None. And it's by himself. Maybe $1,000. Maybe it's $1,000 for
There's
the kind of booth.
people in Artist Alley also who don't pay nearly as much as the small
Artist
press
Alley's about
guys.
$550 for a table.
Yeah.
And I'm actually guessing, because it was $500 the last time I was in Artist Alley. I'm guessing it went up due to inflation.
Which is a lot of money.
Sure.
It didn't used to be that much money when it all started, but of course that's the way things go.
Yeah.
But you know, and I know a lot of them, they're not doing great. You know, you get some celebrities in there.
Sure.
You get like Walt Simonson and a couple of these other guys, and they, of course, they're always busy. I don't know how much money they're making.
Chris
but they're
Claremont's
always busy.
line was like wide open on Thursday. Like you could just walk right up to him.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Because no one knows who he is anymore.
But that's Thursday.
Yeah,
who
fair.
knows what it was a Saturday?
Fair
you know?
enough. Fair enough. I don't know, actually, but I do know that Thursday it was just like you could just walk right up to him and just chat with him.
Well, how crowded was it on Thursday?
You know what? It was very good, actually. Sales-wise, I did my best on Thursday and Friday than I did Saturday and Sunday. Everything Saturday was
I think
off.
Saturdays are spectacle days, man. You come in,
It
you
was a
bloat, you breathe
booming
in.
start though. It was booming, and then all of a sudden, like 2 o'clock hit, and it wasn't just me. Like we asked like everyone. They're like, yeah. All of a sudden, people stopped spending money at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock was the witching hour.
Really?
We're gonna get into that conversation a little bit more too. We got Tom Hutchison coming up. He's from Big Dog Inc. He's done it for years. Not self-publishing. He is a self-publisher, but he legitimately had his own company. Has his own company. He's kind of moving it over to a Kickstarter model now too. So we're going to talk about his Kickstarter. But he's never shy of opinions either. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the bad day that Marvel had too, because Marvel did not have a good day. But Sam, you kind of kicked it off. You kind of asked us, like, what were the big announcements at New York ComicCon? We're like, really wasn't many big announcements. In fact, it was the lack of announcements that were the big thing. And what was the biggest thing, though, to drop was a new Star Wars Last Jedi trailer. I'm going to preface this by saying, it's Ryan, right? Not Rian?
Ryan.
It's Ryan Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you just spell his name normal? These jerks.
Maybe he thinks he's spelling it normally.
Ryan Johnson says, is it Johnston or Johnson?
Oy.
I know,
It's Ryan Johnson. How come you haven't...
I don't know. Right. I feel like if it's not J.J. Abrams... I don't know. So, Ryan Johnson actually tweeted, if you want to come into the movie completely fresh, don't watch this trailer. But... Which,
of course, was a bait.
But, he also wrote in the same Twitter post, but it's so good. And it really is. Like, it really is. Like, we were actually talking about the Last Jedi trailer, how there was no buzz around it, and it didn't show you anything. And this was like, many months ago.
Teaser.
Right? That teaser. I guess the teaser, right? Well, I mean, it's still a...
It was a teaser.
Is there a difference between a teaser and a trailer?
Teasers are shorter.
Oh, we're gonna do trailer teaser, trailer trash or truth.
If you can pronounce teaser, it, we'll do it.
Teaser, truth, or teaser, trailer.
Just stop.
Trailer, teaser.
Stop. Do yourself a favor.
I'll come up with a witty thing.
No, do yourself a favor.
I came up with a really good game we're gonna play with a guest.
Oh, really?
Not today's guest.
Not today. So we're gonna do a name that. You're wasting your time.
We're gonna do a name that tune. We're going to do name that tune.
I'm not naming it.
Oh, we just got to wait for the right guest.
Killing time.
Yeah, I know. You're on to me. Oh, no.
Yes, I figured you out, man.
How dare you.
I figured out how we get through these shows.
End transmission.
Yeah. What was that? Kids in the Hall skit? About every time the guy was an alien double agent.
Yeah.
And every time someone found out, he blew up the planet. I'm not going to go into it, but that was one of my
You just killed
skits.
time.
That did.
Masterful.
Yeah.
Masterful.
I'm way better at it than you are.
So, we finally get a look at this film now. We finally get a look at a little bit more. What's the most compelling moment for you out of this trailer that makes you want to see this? Now, you had a different take on it, but we don't have to necessarily go into that. I want to know, out of that trailer, what's the most compelling scene out of that where it made you think, we're going to see something a little different than we haven't seen before?
Something different?
By the way, spoiler alert, anybody who hasn't seen the trailer.
Yeah, see the
this
trailer.
Is your warning.
See the trailer before you listen to this. I didn't see anything really different.
No, but you said like the aesthetics were
the aesthetic,
but
I didn't say it was different. I said it was very reminiscent, and that's where the problem started.
Yeah.
So
no,
that's not different.
But you said it actually showed something different.
It showed it. It displayed a high sense of visual imagination.
Sure.
It's a high aesthetic, high color palette also,
sure.
Which was very nice. It was very unlike the previous movie.
I'm going to say that this movie, for me, blurred the line of good and evil. Whereas Star Wars movies tends to be, now with the exception of, I guess you could sit there and say Hayden Christensen and Darth Vader, the journey of Darth Vader. But even that is, when he's Darth Vader, he's evil, right? I mean, there's no cutting cutting the corners.
Up until the last 5 minutes, he was Darth Vader. He was
right. He was essentially evil. Mm-hmm. And even in the first of the new movies, in The Force Awakens, I mean, Kylo Ren is essentially, following in his grandfather's footsteps. He is following the evil path. Mm. But at the end of the trailer, it has Rey actually talking to Kylo, or at least that's what we see. Could be. I mean, look, this is trailer truth or trash. Whether or not it's true, right? Whether it's truth or trash, we don't know. And she's like, I need to understand this, and she reaches out to Kylo Ren. So, in a sense, if that's trailer truth versus trailer trash, meaning it does not actually happen in the movie, that's kind of blurring the lines a little bit, right? I mean, is Kylo Ren an evil being, an evil person? And if so, then why is Rey reaching out to him? Is it something that they're just on a level that no one else can understand, with the exception of Leia and Luke? Is Rey then considered the good guy at that point? I mean, if you fall in bed with your enemy, are you the good guy? So one way or the other, Kylo Ren could still be bad. Rey then could then be perceived as someone who's drifting to a different side.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk about this.
Oh, really?
See how I did this?
You want me to talk about that? Look, it's a trailer. It's 5 minutes long on almost a 3 hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that whatever you saw wasn't manufactured for you to see it, for us to be having this conversation. That's A. B, I seriously doubt, although if I am wrong, I say it here. I will admit I was wrong. I seriously doubt they're going to go for a level of storytelling that intricate.
You think so? Could it be
just as Captain Phasma? Turned out to be a big nothing.
Sure.
Well, or Boba Fett turned out to be a big nothing.
Captain
or
Phasma
Darth Maul turned out to be a big nothing.
Has a larger role in this, though, in the sense that we actually see her fighting.
We'll see.
So that's good.
We'll see. We've got scenes, and they're all some very compelling scenes. There's all a lot of stuff, and the visuals are spectacular, which is nice. It seems like we're going to get a visually a broader film with stuff that we haven't necessarily seen on a regular basis.
Sure.
Except for the walkers, which we've seen.
What about those like cat-like creatures? You notice with the horns and
whatever.
I don't know what's going on with that.
Stupid creature. They're going to run by and you're going to go, oh, there's one, and then that's going to be it. It's not going to be that deep.
I thought you were going to see Jon Snow next to it. That's what I was thinking.
Well, he was there.
Yeah, he was there.
He was there.
Was he trying to arrange for the Last Jedis to help him? We all have to fight.
He needs help with the White Walkers, man.
We're going to have nothing unless you all come.
He's not gonna let a little thing like franchise stop him from enlisting help.
Winter is coming. I need everyone's help.
Why don't you understand? I don't understand why you don't understand what I'm trying to make you understand.
We have a terrible British accent. Like, collectively, we as a show.
I speak very good English.
That's a Scottish accent. In fact, that is, you're a racist. Huh? You're a racist for that accent.
I'm speaking English. I didn't say I was speaking in an English accent, so I'm not racist. So,
it was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, so you can go to hell.
All right, before we go to commercial, because we have about 2 minutes to go. One movie we did see, and I want to tie this into Star Wars, though. One movie that came out this past weekend, which we won't spend a lot of time on it because apparently the masses...
Because we only have 2 minutes.
Well, that too. The masses didn't really collectively spend a lot of time on, was Blade Runner 2049. It did win the weekend, but it was one of those weekends where like nothing else was kind of playing, and so it kind of won the weekend, but it disappointed at the same time. It disappointed what the budget was, like $150, and at the same time, it didn't quite. It made like $30 million at the box office, so they're kind of sitting there saying like, what's going on with that kind of thing. But one thing that it did very interesting, and I thought was it was very similar to the problem Force Awakens had, right? It had to bridge two movies that were 30 years apart into one movie, right? You basically had, and look, I'm showing it off, so if anybody's seen it, you got the Harrison Ford. I wore this intentionally, you see. It basically had to take a movie that happened 30 years ago that focused on one character, introduce a new character, introduce a new story within the world of the story, but bridge the two together. Now, many people, and myself included actually, I enjoyed Force Awakens, but I thought that the movie suffered when Han Solo made his reappearance, because all of a sudden it stopped being a movie about Rey, it stopped being a movie about Finn, it stopped being a movie about Poe, and it became two movies. It became like this bridge of two movies. Blade Runner kind of did it a little differently, though, but I think it had the same issue. Do you think it pulled it off better?
Yes.
And why, though?
I think it was an actual story. There was an actual justification for it. So,
what do you mean by that, though?
It made sense that there's something that came after the end of Blade Runner.
Yeah,
right. Because Blade Runner's kind of an open-ended story.
Sure.
No matter which ending you see, right?
Yep. Because
there are several. So this one, if you were curious of what happened to the characters after the fact, this is a pretty substantial and well-crafted continuation of that particular story.
Sure.
Plus bringing you new information as to what the original story was about. So it adds to the material that came before it.
Yeah.
And it in and of itself was a pretty solid story with a lot of information in it about its own world building.
I agree to an extent, but I also think it became two movies, no matter what. And I think that's something that we will discuss a little bit further on when we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
If you have an interest in marijuana, you want to know about marijuana, law, policy, and culture, then feel free to join me, Joseph A. Bondi, every Friday at 11 o'clock in the morning on my show In the Know 420 on TalkingAlternative.com.
Legalize the herb to continue to resist the passage of this necessary legislation.
Hi, this is Rob Kay.
And I'm Callie Alpert.
And we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place, because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show, Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
That might have been the best thing you've ever said, period. Like on the show. I mean, we're not even talking about like your opinions, they're okay. Segue, boom. Yeah. That's where the money's made, my man.
You know what? Now I'm going to end every sentence with boom. Boom. And that's what I do.
Exactly.
Boom.
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 All right. That's enough. That's old already. This show doesn't work when we agree.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture, all the stuff that you love and love to talk about, with the exception of Star Wars, which no one loves to talk about. That's not true. Everyone loves talking about it. It's very inflammatory. Everything about it is inflammatory. In flames.
Keep moving.
We were talking about Blade Runner having the elephant in the room of having to be able to bridge two stories. I do agree with you, Hassan. I do think that it did a better job than Force Awakens. However...
I didn't actually say The Force Awakens. I just said it did a good job in bridging the gap.
But that's what I was saying, comparatively speaking, and you said it did a good job.
I don't believe you mentioned The Force Awakens.
I did. I absolutely mentioned it. In fact, I absolutely said that the difference between The Force Awakens...
You said that they're very similar because they had to bridge...
Correct.
To bridge, but no one said any one was better than the other.
You just did. You said they did it well.
I think they did it well. I didn't say they did it well in comparison to The Force Awakens. It did a hell of a lot better than The Force Awakens.
Okay, see that? So I'm not inferring anything out of you.
Now we've said it.
Okay.
We didn't say that earlier.
Very semantical, yeah. Very semantical.
You got to be when people are being circuitous with you.
My next guest never holds back his opinion, which is very good, because apparently, according to Steve, when we all disagree, everybody wins. So his name is Tom Hutchison. He is the publisher of Big Dog Inc. Tom, welcome aboard.
Hey, Mike. Thank you. How are you?
Very, very good. I know Blade Runner is not on the list of things that really interest you, but what do you think about the idea of a movie being able to bridge, two movies into one, like a 30-year sequel?
I mean, I don't really mind that they're trying to do it. For me, it was just kind of, and I don't know, maybe it was because I saw Blade Runner, the original, after the theaters. I mean, I probably saw it for the first time 10 years ago. So
yeah, I did too.
It didn't. The hype for me was I don't get the hype. It wasn't like a bad movie, but I just didn't, latch onto it like other people did. So
sure. That's
really the only reason that I'm not really interested in the prequel or the sequel rather. Is I have no connection to these characters at all. So I don't mind, people coming back to their stuff and trying to do it like they have. But I don't know. It was a non-factor for me as soon as I heard it was even happening. Despite the cast, I mean, I like Harrison, I like Gosling, all that kind of stuff. Jared Leto. I'm sure it's a great cast, and my entire Facebook feed is always like, "Oh, this is a great movie. It's a great movie." So apparently it's good, but that's about all I can tell you.
My next guest never holds back his opinion, which is very good, because apparently, according to Steve, when we all disagree, everybody wins. So his name is Tom Hutchison. He is the publisher of Big Dog Inc. Tom, welcome aboard.
Very
What do you think of the Last Jedi trailer? Are you a big Star Wars guy?
Oh, you could say that. Yeah, yeah. Considering, Star Wars came out when I was like 6, the original one. Star Wars has been part of my being for, my entire life essentially. So, I really like the trailer. There's a lot of people who are kind of saying like, oh, you know what? I think they showed too much. And I don't think they really showed too much. They showed a lot, but it was basically just visuals. There wasn't a whole lot of story in the trailer to me, and what was there, I think, is very, very much bait and switch. There's a lot of stuff in there that anybody that knows movies and how trailers are put together,
sure.
That this stuff is not going to just lay out the way the trailer has laid it
That's
out.
That's not stopping fandom from
A, B, C, D, and we're done. So basically, it just looks to me like it was a big commercial for your toys. This is how Kylo's ship is supposed to move, and this is how this is supposed to sound.
I did look at his ship.
I mean, I'm totally amped for this because I love Force Awakens. So I'm more than ready for more Star Wars.
I did look at his ship, and I was pretty amped at how it was moving. I'm not going to lie. And I'm not even a toy guy.
Yeah,
it's a TIE interceptor.
I know, but it was really cool.
It was a square TIE interceptor.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's in a ship. He's shooting things. It's really exciting.
That does it for you.
It's weird. Right. It's kind of weird looking. I mean, I'm not going to say it's some revolutionary.
It looks like a TIE interceptor that someone stepped on.
And now you know that when you have the toy and you're playing with it, now you know how it's supposed to move.
This is true, actually. This is true.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% down with that. Did we learn anything in that trailer though? I mean, look, the whole. I agree with you. Yes, whether or not that's actually going to play out at the end. The scene with Kylo Ren and Rey, but there's got to be some sort. I mean, they couldn't be so blatant as to what was that scene in The Simpsons when they do the Radioactive Man movie and they're like, we spliced together this movie with footage, and it's like, and it's like Fall Out Boy, Jiminy Dilliker's Radioactive Man, and then they like completely show a completely different scene. Like, that has to be a scene in the movie.
Think about it this way, though. That would have been the equivalent of Vader saying, "I am your father" in the trailer. Whatever big twist is not going to be in the trailer.
Sure.
It's not even going to be suggested in the trailer.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, I mean, it looks pretty suggestive. And I would...
It's supposed to. Sorry.
Yeah, and we can't, none of us can say that it's not going to happen that way, but just from the history of trailers and movies and Star Wars in general, you generally don't get that in the trailer.
Wouldn't it be a first, though? Groundbreaking trailer.
Maybe that's what they're going for.
Groundbreaking trailer.
The whole movie in the trailer. Never mind the movie. You've seen it.
So I wanted to save these kind of stories for you because you've done the con circuit. So we were talking about New York ComicCon. It's kind of the New York ComicCon aftermath and the hangover and all that fun stuff. So Marvel actually had 3 big stories take place, and all of them really weren't very good. First of all, on Thursday, they canceled the Punisher panel. Basically because he's a gun-toting vigilante on a vengeance-fueled quest for justice, and, we just had the mass shooting in Las Vegas. Right or wrong, I mean, do you think that was a good idea?
I mean, I think it shows a little bit of sensitivity to the situation. Maybe if it had been a week out or so, they would have let it go, but because of the immediacy of it, I can kind of get it. But at the same time, it's not like you're canceling the show.
Sure.
So, maybe you let it go and you just kind of have a moment of silence or something. I don't know how you play that really. You're kind of in a bad situation. So, I think they did the best they could with that part. But I would have probably just said, hey guys, we're going to run this thing, but we're going to pay a little homage to Vegas and have a little moment of silence for them or something, and then let the fans, get what they want to get out of the panel.
Sure. They actually replaced it with Joe Quesada interviewing Stan Lee, so I mean, at least they gave something. Yeah, you gave something better for what you missed out. The big one though was the retailer summit though, and apparently, and now you are a comic book shop, you're involved in comic book shops, so you were right in the thick of things. And apparently Marvel got a lot of yelling and screaming at the diversity movement, and not necessarily because of the diversity movement itself, but the effect that it's actually having on these retailers. A lot of them, 2 older retailers, started raising their voices, arguing about diversity and how it does not work. Now, Bleeding Cool was a little... they said that there were certain terms being shouted around, but I looked at other websites and they did not verify that. So I don't know if it happened or not happened. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I'm not gonna say it did or didn't. Right? I'm only gonna report what I was reading.
Sure.
As a retailer, do you find that the replacing of the more popular characters with people of color, women, different genders, different orientations, is that having a negative effect on your personal sales, like this comic shop you work with?
Yeah, this is really tough because there's so many layers to it, honestly. But I think that and we've kind of talked about this before previously, but I think that when you have an agenda that you're kind of forcing on your existing readers, in most cases, where hopefully, where you say, okay, just as an example, okay, we're going to take, we're going to take the Hulk, and it's no longer Bruce Banner, and now it's Amadeus Cho, I think is his name, and it's not what you know, and it's not the white guy, and now it's an Asian guy, or whatever he is. Anytime you force that on a fan base, an existing fan base, you're going to get pushback.
Sure.
And that's what's happening here. And it didn't happen overnight, though. That's the interesting part. Like for example, when they did Thor and they did Lady Thor, that was more or less kind of an accepted thing. But I think the story was more organic. It was kind of like, hey, we're writing the story to introduce her, take over the mantle, and so on and so forth. But as they kept going, and as we now have Ironheart instead of Iron Man, as we now have, oh God, I don't even know all these things, because honestly, I've almost just sort of, let them just go. I don't even pay attention, because the fan base that was buying those characters has more or less stopped buying them.
Yeah.
So the argument is, hey, we're going to do this diversity stuff in whatever segment they want to do it in, race or sex or whatever, and we'll bring in new readers. Now, that may happen, but at the same time, you're alienating the readers that were already there. So let's say you bring in somebody who's going to read Hulk for the first time because he's an Asian dude. Well, you may just have lost the reader who was reading it because it was Bruce Banner. So it's a wash. You're not accomplishing anything.
Sure.
So while diversity makes sense, the fact is that diversity has always existed. It's always been in comics. I mean, I'm looking at posters in this room right now, and you've got Russians with Colossus, you've got African Americans with Storm, you've got Thunderbird, the African American, you've got the Irish Banshee. It's diversity has always existed, but for some reason, all of a sudden, there's this diversity push that changed what we knew from these leading characters, and that to me is always going to give you pushback, and I think we're seeing it really hard right now.
So you got a Kickstarter going on. I want to talk about Big Dog Inc. First of all, I always commend you on Big Dog Inc. because we met at Wizard World Los Angeles, which was now 10 years ago. Dear God.
Yeah.
And you had kind of said, hey, I like all the stuff you're doing with Sire, and I'd love to do it myself too. And I gave you like rough rudimentary points on what I did, and I take absolutely zero credit beyond that. And you ran with it. And Big Dog Inc. was paired up with Aspen recently, and now you're kind of branching back off. What's going on with the company? And I know you got a Kickstarter that has launched right now, actually, right?
We're launching on Saturday. Yeah. So basically, the Aspen partnership / experiment that we tried, we've kind of let it run its course this year. Frank and I talked about it earlier in the year, and between what they have coming next year with their 15th anniversary and what they have to do to focus on, Fathom and Soulfire and so on, and what I need to do with Big Dog Inc., they're going to be at odds with each other. There's just too much going on. So Frank and I just decided, hey, you know what? We did what we did. It was all cool. Let's just let it be where it is. Let Aspen do its thing. Let BDI come back, and that's what we're doing. BDI started with Penny for Your Soul in 2010. It was our first book, and we sold out of it immediately. No one had heard of us or the book, and we sold out of our, I think, 3,000 or 4,000 copies instantly and went to a second print, which was great.
That's great.
So when we decided to kind of bring BDI back as its own entity and let it stand on its own 2 feet, we figured, hey, you know what? Let's just start with where we started with 7 years ago. Let's get Penny back into the mix. JB Netto, the series artist who's done every issue of the book, is coming back. We've got a new colorist with Whitney Cook. but I'm writing it, and it's a continuation of what we've been doing. And the Kickstarter will launch on Saturday, and we're doing a big signing event down at Jesse James Comics in Arizona Saturday and Sunday with 7 artists from the team.
Very cool. Where can people find you online, and where can they find the Kickstarter?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, of course. Big Dog Inc. as a fan page. TJH Big Dog Inc. on Twitter. Critters Daddy on Instagram. The Kickstarter will be. We'll post the link with you here because there's a preview link that just went live today. So we'll get the link posted here. But you can search for it under Penny for Your Soul. You'll find it. And that's what we're doing.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, man. Thank you.
When we come back, we go spinning the racks to some more New York Comic-Con fantastical news.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
TalkingAlternative.com.
You ever seen like the old men at the Starbucks? Like they have their little like.
I don't go to Starbucks.
Oh, I do. I work at
I'm
Starbucks.
a man.
It's fantastic, and they just have these old men club, and they just sit around and talk about the good old days.
That's why I don't go into Starbucks. It's a creepy sausage fest on caffeine.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. TalkRadio.nyc. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture. I want to thank our guest, Tom Hutchison. Go check out Big Dog Inc. Go check out Penny for Your Soul. They got the Kickstarter launching on Saturday. It's a really neat book. It takes place in Vegas. It is whether basically the armies of heaven and hell own a bunch of casinos out there and kind of go at each other. Is as quick a summary of the book as I possibly can. Very cool stuff. So definitely check it out. I wrote the forward to their trade. So self-plug. Self-promotion. We do this every week. We go spinning the racks.
Spin the rack. Spin that rack.
So there was actually a lot of fantastical pop culture news out there, but not really. Like, Sam, you were asking earlier, like, was there any Infinity War announcements? Was there any? Really wasn't. Like, New York ComicCon, Hassan, to your point, I think it maybe it wasn't to your point. I don't know what it was exactly. There was a point where we were just kind of talking. There's a lot of merchandise to sell, essentially, but that's essentially what it's become, right? I think it's like people shop there now.
Yeah, it's like a warehouse.
Yeah,
it's a geek warehouse.
Yeah,
or like a mall.
Yeah,
more like a shopping mall.
Yeah, and that was the thing too. Like even for us, I mean, we've pivoted from doing like the person James Massey, who's a writer. I mean, he's a writer. He's a graphic novelist. He pivoted to just be doing mashup prints, and he makes money.
You know, in all fairness, I don't remember a time, and that just might speak to or testify to how long I've been doing this or how aware I was. I don't remember a time when people like actually did their own comic books and went to a show and sold them successfully.
I did.
It always seemed to, every other creator I've ever, it always seemed like a kind of, a kind of Pyrrhic victory.
Sure.
Like, I got him here. You know,
Yeah.
I put them together, I printed them, and I got them here. I got them, and I'm showcasing them. So the 5 or 6 you sell,
Yeah.
man, I actually unloaded a couple.
Yeah, see,
as opposed to like, okay, I came here and I made my nut back, and then that negated the cost,
Sure.
or nullified my expenses, basically.
I'll say this: Joe Mulvey, who is a frequent watcher of our show, and he's actually on the Facebook feed. Comics Tribe is a group of people who go to shows and make money selling comics. Dirk Manning, too.
Their own comic books?
Yeah. Dirk Manning, who we'll have on the show at some point.
Is that a Comics Tribe? Is that like a company?
Yeah. But
so it's a
company that's been built, through word of mouth, through grassroots marketing. It's a conglomerate more than an entity. I mean, it's Tyler James. Joel Mulvey has done a bunch of books through them. I think the two of them are the most significant. I know they have some other folks who are kind of with them, but it's...
Why do you think that they sell and a lot of people don't?
Like, I would sit there and say, like, there's another group that we've seen called Pronto Comics, and I don't know of them selling as much as like what a Comics Tribe does. Dirk Manning is an individual.
Why do you think Comics Tribe sells? And
they are experts at grassroots marketing, so they build up the momentum before the show.
How would they do that?
Through email marketing, through social media marketing, through retaining a fan base that they get at shows. So they grow their fan base at shows.
So what do you think they do? Like, they have people sign
they sign the newsletter list, but they also get people excited about their stuff too. I mean, they really...
How though? Isn't that the $99 million question?
I think it's a combination, right? So you said, like, who goes to a show and actually sells? The Sire was my bread and butter. No, I'm saying it was my bread and butter, but people really responded to my enthusiasm. It's almost like Kickstarter, right? Like, people respond to Kickstarters because it's like, they want to be on this journey with you. And I think the people that do it effectively at the shows, have that spirit of, come on this journey. Dirk Manning, like I said, this guy is a 6-figure Kickstarter, a self-proclaimed anyway, but you can go see his Kickstarters and they do make money. He's a self-proclaimed 6-figure Kickstarter accumulator. I mean, profit is different than what you make on a Kickstarter because, for what you make on a Kickstarter versus what you have to pay in expenses, completely different. But he does at least amass 6 figures worth of money a year doing Kickstarters. But he does it because he goes to like 12 shows. He goes to at least 2 shows a month.
Yeah.
He's building up his fan base. He's introducing the work.
But that's crazy.
The stories.
Like, that's a full-time job.
That is his full-time job.
Right. Well, that's a little bit of a different story than...
How is that a different story, though?
We're not talking about, like, whether you can or can't. We're talking about whether people do or don't.
Sure.
Right? So if you have a full-time day job...
Sure.
And you can't basically quit the day job
sure.
to just chase conventions around so that you can build up a fan base... A lot of times you're not going to sell.
Well, that's what separates the people that succeed and people that don't. I mean, Big Dog Inc., same thing. I mean,
right, but that wasn't the nature of the conversation we were having.
Well, you're saying why is it that some people sell comics?
I wanted to know exactly. You said that these particular people sell.
Yeah.
They're the ones that sell.
Yeah.
So the differential right there is that they work full-time. First of all, they're a full-fledged entity.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, Dirk Manning is an individual.
Yeah, but he's got a brand. He's got an established...
Himself is the brand, yes.
Right, but the Comics Tribe is the brand.
Yeah.
And the comics fly under the brand name.
Sure.
So that proven brand, it's like Marvel.
Yeah.
To an extent, it's an umbrella, right? And then something else will have more credibility because it flies under this particular umbrella.
Okay.
Versus like a guy with a mom and pop.
Dirk Manning's Dirk Manning is an individual then.
Right, but
he's not Comics Tribe.
Huh?
He's not Comics Tribe. Dirk Manning. I was using 2 separate examples. I was giving an example of a.
So he chases the.
He is the Dirk Manning brand.
Yeah, but he's only selling his own stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's doing it full time.
He made the leap.
Working full time.
Sure, he made the leap at doing it. Yeah.
Oh, did he sell 6 figures before he made the leap?
No.
So then he made the leap,
and then
he could dedicate it full time.
But so he delivered. It wasn't like he was doing.
Well, it's not like he was
had
making
more risk.
It's not like he was making that money before he made the leap.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
You have to make the leap.
Sure.
In order to do it. Not everybody can make that leap. Not everybody's in the position to make that leap.
He wasn't financially in a position. He took a leap.
What are the circumstances of his life that allowed him to make that leap?
I mean, he did start building up an audience before he made the leap.
Yeah, but I'm saying, what are the circumstances? He's married. He's married, has kids.
No.
There you go. So
you're
that's already different.
You're describing everything that you could be doing.
We're not talking about me. Nor is that something I want to do.
No, I understand.
So
Keanu Reeves did a panel at New York ComicCon and was asked about the new Matrix movies. He said, I don't know anything about it.
Even though he's being advertised.
In the age of reboots, chances of we're going to get a new Matrix movie?
That's 50-50.
50-50, right?
50-50.
I'm actually going to say 70-30. I think there's no reason we will not get another Matrix movie.
Well, I'm sure we'll get another one, but I think...
I'm not saying it's going to be good. We're not saying it's going to be good.
No, it's not going to be. It's going to be crap. But, because it's too soon.
Yeah.
It's way too soon for The Matrix, because The Matrix was not an under-received movie.
But if you think about it, it's been, what? It's been over 10 years.
It doesn't matter.
Spider-Man got the reboot.
The phenomenon of The Matrix, the residuals of The Matrix is still being felt.
Yeah.
We're still in the age of the post-Matrix. It's before The Matrix, is after The Matrix, right? It's still very prominent in our visual storytelling.
Sure.
So now whoever's gonna come along and do another one is gonna be an inferior creator to whoever to those who brought it to us in the first place, the Wachowskis.
Yeah.
So there's no way that does well. So I do believe they will incorporate Keanu Reeves somehow to try to get them over the hump.
The Walking Dead to crossover with Fear of the Walking Dead. What did you ask me before the show started?
I asked if anyone is still watching The Walking Dead.
I still watch The Walking Dead.
Right,
Fear of the Walking Dead is a little,
You don't watch Fear of the Walking Dead?
It's funny.
Are they still in Georgia?
No. They still film in Georgia, but they call it Virginia now.
So they went, but were they in?
Theoretically trekked from Georgia to Virginia.
They were in Georgia and then they went to Virginia.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you go someplace where there's no trees?
Why no trees?
So that you could see walkers coming 100 miles away, perhaps?
There's fields.
Because everybody who gets killed wandering into the woods.
Oh, that happens.
Don't do that.
These are questions we will have to answer next week. Next week, we'll take a little breather from Star Wars. Except we won't, because our guest next week is legendary frontman of the Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corrigan. He's going to talk about his new solo album, a potential Smashing Pumpkins reunion, and his take on the Marvel and Star Wars movie madness. See you next week.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo! What's that?
Hey, all you crazy listeners. Looking to boost your business? Why not advertise on Talking Alternative with very reasonable rates? Interested? Simply email at info@talkingalternative.com.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on talkingalternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network at www.talkingalternative.com. Now, broadcasting 24 hours a day. Talking Alternative.
Hi, this is Rob Kay.
And I'm Callie Alpert.
And we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place, because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show, Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.